Hi, guys. This is Dr. Stacy Rose, licensed clinical social worker, psychotherapist, seasoned relationship expert, and divorced woman. Welcome to episode 3 of Divorced Women Dating. So excited to share this episode with you on some of the many challenges of post-divorce dating as a woman. Today, you'll hear about the challenges emotionally, psychologically, logistically, around kids, family members, figuring out who you are as a divorced woman, and how to navigate moving forward. So tune in and send me some feedback if you have it. Thanks. I want to let you know that even when a marriage ends, even when divorce is the quote unquote right decision, it doesn't mean that it's still not painful. And you know that firsthand, especially if you were the one who said, hey, I want a divorce to your spouse of 1 year or 50 years or anything in between. It still hurts. It's still an ending that we need to really grieve. And not giving ourselves the time to do that can make things even more complex and difficult moving forward. It's like we have to really clean the slate as best we can so we can see clearly where we're going and what to look for and what to avoid moving forward. But if we don't give ourselves that time to grieve the loss, again, even if the marriage was horrible, terrible, over, it had been over for 10 years before I even left, the things that I hear in my office every day, it's still an ending, and you still might have some sad feelings about it, angry feelings, lonely feelings. All of your feelings are valid. So give yourself a chance to honor them as you go through it. One of the first things I see a lot with women who are newly divorced and just getting back into the dating world is they'll ask me, well, how do I know I can trust anybody? I thought I could trust my ex, but I couldn't because he or she lied. And I thought this person was one person, and I believed that for so long. I really thought I knew him in and out. And then only to find out he was lying to me about whatever, something small, something huge, or anything in between. So the question is, how do you know that the person sitting in front of you at a restaurant or a bar or a pickleball court, wherever your first date may be, is telling the truth? And the truth is, you may not know. So you're going to take it slow. You're going to give yourself a chance to really get to know, again, yourself, most importantly, and get to know the person sitting in front of you. You're going to ask questions. You're going to gather information. That's what dating really is. I liken it to therapy in some ways. I do a lot of couples therapy, and sometimes I will say to the couples that sit in front of me, the goal here is to gather information to see how willing your partner is to grow, evolve, make certain changes. And are you willing, and how willing you are, by the way, as well, to grow, evolve, and make certain changes. And is that enough? Is that enough for you? Is that enough for your partner? And then you reevaluate. So I think the same thing is true with dating. Give yourself a chance to get to know this person and give them a chance to get to know you. And then you can reevaluate. How do I feel when I'm with this person? Does it feel good to be with them? Do I feel insecure? Do I feel like I'm not really being listened to? These are all things to really check in with yourself. And maybe, by the way, after each date you go on, maybe you do a little writing in your journal about it. This is how I felt tonight. Not about the person so much. And he had a terrible smell to him, and his clothes were awful. And no. It's not about him. How did I feel when I was with him? And again, I'm talking in heterosexual terms now, but this relates to any woman who's out there dating, whether you're dating gay, straight, doesn't really matter. So trust is a big thing. I also hear sometimes that many women, understandably, are scared to be vulnerable again. Well, I'm not letting my guard down again. What if I get hurt? No way. Not happening. And so without that, it's hard to connect to somebody. So the truth is we really do need to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, but only when the time is right. So when we feel safe enough to do that, when we feel seen and heard and respected, then we can let our guard down. And so then the next question could be, well, what if I let my guard down and I get hurt again? Well, you will, because that's a part of life. I'm sorry to say. It's just the way it goes. We will get hurt again. Now, obviously, nobody signs up for pain. Hey, yeah, sign me up. Most of us human beings, we try to avoid pain at all costs. Hence why there are so many dependencies and addictions out there. It's just easier to have a glass of wine, or it's easier to eat too much ice cream, or, whatever the avoidance or distraction of the day, of the choice that the person's choice is. It's easier to avoid pain than to deal with it. Having said that, look at what you just came out of. You just came out of, or are going through, a major life change. One of the biggest life changes that you really could go through, because divorce is scary, it's overwhelming, it's life-changing. And if you got through that, girl, you can get through this. I know you can. Because it's actually empowering and liberating, and I think freeing when a woman goes through a divorce, especially like even if you have kids too, or you're working, or you're taking care of an elderly parent, maybe like you're juggling so many balls in the air. How do you do it all? You do. And so if you get hurt again, you'll get through it. And you have the resources and the tools. And with this podcast and this growing community of divorced women who are out there dating also, hopefully we'll be able to connect you all and to those who you want to connect to, and know that you're not alone, because you're not. Look at all the dating apps out there. So the first segment of today's episode is really about the emotional and the psychological challenges. And I want you to remember that healing is not linear. It's not a straight line. You're going to have days where you feel empowered, like I got this. And then days where you feel like I just want to pull the covers over my head. This is too hard and too painful, and I'm never going to date again. And I'm going to just, get cats or dogs and live, that kind of life. And by the way, if you choose that, that's fine. It's not for me to say how you should live your life. You live your life. It's your life. So I guess the point of that is to give yourself some grace, give yourself a break. Like there will be days that are really, really hard. And there will be days that are, again, empowering. Like, I got this. Whatever that means. It doesn't mean like you meet your Prince Charming and end up, happily married again, or happily married this time. It might mean like, I have a really rich and full life. And there was a book many years ago. I never read it, but I love the title. Men Are Just Desserts. Sorry, men. But the point is that so many women have thought over the years, I need a man to be complete. The Jerry Maguire thing, right? You complete me. Okay, that's lovely and it's romantic, and it's really not true, because nobody can complete us. No child can complete us, no parent, no partner, no spouse, no friend. That we are complete as women. And if you don't feel complete, then it is your job, it is your responsibility to go out there and do what's necessary so that you can feel whole again, or maybe for the first time. So again, the first piece of today's episode on the emotional and the psychological challenges, giving yourself permission to really feel everything and take it slow. Slow and steady wins the race. There is no rush here. The next piece of today's episode is on self-perception, your identity. Who are you? I mean, I've talked before about you are so-and-so's mom, you are so-and-so's sister, so-and-so's daughter, so-and-so's wife, so-and-so's ex now, right? And you are your own person. I mean, I almost want to just like have you like scream like right now at the top of your lungs. I am. So I am Stacy. And by the way, I am Dr. Stacy Rose, a seasoned psychotherapist and relationship expert and a divorced woman myself. And obviously your host for today. So let's talk a little bit more about identity. Being in all these different roles of mom, wife, sister, friend, whatever you do for a living, banker, doctor, lawyer, whatever you do is a part of who you are, but it's not all of who you are. And I really believe that one of the gifts of being divorced, and you might say, Stacey, there are no gifts to being divorced. Well, I beg to differ. There are many. There are so many, actually. One of the gifts of being divorced is really giving yourself the time to get to know who you truly are. And it is such a gift. I mean, who are you going to spend more time with on this planet than yourself? Just you. And so don't you want to know who you are? Like what makes you tick? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? Who do you want in your life? Who do you not want in your life? What do you want in your life? And what do you want to say no thank you to and set boundaries? There are so many things coming at us constantly all day long, social media, so many things. And we have so many opportunities and so many decisions to make. And I think it's really important that we get to decide where we spend our time, our energy, with whom we spend our time, what we spend our time doing. We get one life. Why would you waste it? So there's all this, all these roles that we talk about, right? So society has some messages for us as well. And society will often say things to us like, or the culture will say things to us like, you're dating? You have a boyfriend? You have a boyfriend? How old are you? You have a boyfriend. Which, by the way, I'm not a fan of that word. That's a word for high schoolers, it seems, right? So what does one call their significant other at this stage of life? Even if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, it doesn't matter. But boyfriend, girlfriend, you can call that person whatever you like. But the messages we get from society, you're too old. You've got too much baggage. That's another one. Marriage didn't work out. So basically that's the end of your story. And quite frankly, I think that's all bullshit. I really do. I really do. The truth is all the experiences that you have had have contributed to who you are as a woman, to who you are. It's helped you to be a better mom if you're a mom, or helped you to be a better teacher or lawyer or doctor or friend or daughter, whatever it is. In all the different roles that you play, your going through a divorce has actually helped you because it's given you maybe more compassion for other women who are in it. It's allowed you to experience some of the highest highs and the lowest lows maybe in your life. And all of those things really color the essence of who we are. So don't listen to all the messages in society. There's a lot out there. The truth is that you're really not starting over. You are starting again. And this time you have, again, not just more experience, but more awareness. So eyes wide open. So the first segment I did was the emotional challenges. The next one was identity. And the third one we're going to talk about is family and children. And how does being a mom and having kids, or even your siblings or your parents, no matter how old you are, how have they all reacted to your divorce? I have clients that are wildly hurt, and I can see why they would be, from having family members who still stay in touch with their ex. And because it feels like such a betrayal. And every family obviously has different rules, and I'm not telling you what you should or should not do. But what I am saying, I guess, is if you have certain feelings about your family, for example, being still in touch with your ex or friendly with your ex, talk to your family members and let them know how you feel. That's just one piece of this. So if you are a parent, you are not just navigating post-divorce dating for yourself, but you're actually doing it for your children too. And you might say, well, what does that even mean? I deserve to be happy and I want to go out and find somebody that's going to make me happy. Yes. And it's inevitable that at some point, if that date develops into a long-term relationship, that you may want to introduce that person to your children or your children to that person. And you might meet your partner's kids. And sometimes that flows really easily and naturally. And other times, not so much. Not so much. If your kids haven't, for example, had a chance to really grieve the marriage and see like mom's okay, dad's okay, or mom and mom are okay, or dad and dad, and they haven't had a chance to kind of exhale, settle into their new lifestyle. Maybe they go to a new school or they're on a new bus or they haven't had a chance to settle in. Introducing them to somebody new in your life too soon is not going to go well, probably. So I would give them at least a year before you introduced anybody, a year post-legal divorce ideally before you start dating, and then maybe even a year later before you would introduce somebody. That may not be really popular advice, but it's clean advice. And I think it would set you up for success. So when you've got kids, if you've got young kids, my kids were 14 and 11 when I got divorced many years ago. And there's still a lot of child rearing I had to do. So dating and, driving to dance and soccer and homework and school events, like who had the time? And so you might think like, where am I going to find the time? I think one of the perks of being divorced and dating is that when your kids are with your ex, now you have all this new time that you never had before. And so some people get really lonely. Some women get really lonely during that time, which, by the way, is not a reason to date. I wouldn't recommend loneliness being a reason to date. I think reasons to date are more like, I'm ready. I've done the work. I have allowed myself to grieve and to heal. Maybe I've been in therapy. Maybe I've been in a divorce support group. And so I feel really ready. But those weekends, if you are ready, go date. Yeah. Have a great time. Take up a new sport, join a new gym, do something for you. Because it is hard, when you have the kids and you're juggling all of it. So time can be an issue. Dating, people say, can be expensive. I mean, if you're paying for your own meals or drinks and your date is not, it's expensive to go out. It's expensive to maybe get a new outfit if that's something you might do, or get your hair done, or whatever it is to prepare for the date. Even if you're dating while the kids are with you, a babysitter, it can be expensive and add up. So that's another consideration. So again, start slow. And when you find a dating app, my girlfriend told me to go on Bumble or Hinge or Match.com or whatever the platform is, I would highly recommend that you look at the platform itself and see if it's in alignment with your values. See if you can tell from like the way they set it up. For example, I don't know if it's still true, but Bumble back in the day was where women would have to make the first move when you matched with somebody. So for many women, that felt like a safer way to go about dating. But again, taking a look at your value system and the values of the site. I think eHarmony has like a really long psychological quiz or profile that they do. And for some people, that feels like a good thing. Like they're really asking me all these questions to get to know me. And then they'll match me up with somebody that has similar values. And again, pros and cons with everything in life, including dating apps. So shop around a little bit first. So again, we've got the emotional and psychological challenges. We've got the identity challenges, figuring out who you are. We've got the family and children challenges. And then there are two more I'm going to address today. The next one is one more. Then the next one was the practical and logistical challenges. And now we're going to talk about societal and cultural pressures. So the too old, or you're being too picky. How many of you have heard that one? You're being too picky. Maybe that's why you're still single. Or is it that I know who I am? I'd rather be with myself, not all by myself. That's different than with myself, than be in the wrong relationship. So it's a conscious choice versus just being with somebody to be with somebody. This is very much a couples culture that we live in. So you go out to a restaurant, you see couples sitting together. Many times, unfortunately, you see them on their phone. This one's on their phone, this one's on their phone, and they're not talking to each other. Like, how healthy is that? How connected could that couple possibly be? So aren't you better off being with yourself? And again, I love the nuance of using the word with yourself. You get to be with you. How cool is that? Instead of, I'm all by myself, which is a very kind of lonely feeling when we say it that way. No, I get to be with me, and I'm really good company. I'm pretty fucking cool. So, I mean, for you to be able to say that, look in the mirror and say that to yourself, take yourself to dinner, take yourself to a movie. So many women are like, oh my God, are you crazy? I could never. I can't even tell you how many movies I've been to by myself, dinners I've been to by myself that I have really enjoyed. And I'll tell you a really proud moment that I'll share with you. Not too long ago, I'm a diehard Springsteen fan. So just as an aside. So I've been to many, many Springsteen concerts, and some of those concerts I've been to. My ex-husband and I went to some. I brought my son to one once, brought my daughter to one once, friends, but some people I've dragged with me because they're not fans, but I wanted to go. And on one of his tours, there was another show and I was free to go, but nobody that, is a fan and a friend of mine wanted to go. And those who didn't want to go and were available didn't want to go. So I said, I'm taking myself. And while it was definitely a little overwhelming, I went into this huge stadium by myself and I had one of the best times. If I tell you, it was like one of the pinnacle moments of my life. There was a young girl standing next to me and she asked, can I take a picture with you? I sang, I danced. I'm a great date. So, I hope you'll learn that you are too. And then you are not so hungry and desperate for a relationship, for a man, for a partner. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm good. And if you fit into my life and you enhance my life, awesome, because I know I'll enhance yours. But it's not, again, the Jerry Maguire, like I need a partner to complete me. So there's that. I guess the point being is that it's your choice to remain single, to remarry, to date, to not date. That's all your choice. I don't want you to listen to society. I don't want you to listen to your friends, your kids, your parents. It's like, really close your eyes for a moment. Take a breath and ask yourself, what do I feel? What really resonates most with me? Where do I want to be at this stage in my life? Where do I want to be a year from now? These are all really good things to write about in your journal as well. So I guess, again, the point, one of the points being here today, that I want you to give yourself permission to feel everything you're feeling. Fear, sadness, the grief, the anxiety, the vulnerability. What if I get hurt again? All of that, the trust. And to remind yourself that you're human. You're still growing. You're still evolving. And that's what we're here for. You deserve love that feels safe, reciprocal, and joyful. Not where you're constantly giving and giving and giving and somebody's just sucking the joy out of you. Doesn't work. So if you have your journal nearby or a pen and paper or your phone, today's journal prompt is, what has been, or what do you think, if you haven't dated yet, will be the biggest dating challenge for you post-divorce? If you have been dating for a while, what has been the the biggest challenge? And if you have been dating and you can identify one of maybe a few, the biggest challenges that you've experienced, how did you get through it? Who did you turn to? What was helpful? What was not helpful? I mean, really delve into how you got through it, because you got through it and you're getting through it. For those of you who are newer to the dating scene post-divorce, what do you fear, or what is your concern that your biggest challenge might be? And then I'd like to invite you to create a plan. Oh, I can reach out to these friends or this therapist, or I can continue to listen to Divorced Women Dating, the new podcast, your go-to podcast, and get the support and the guidance that I need. You don't have to do this alone. You are not alone in this. Thanks for joining me today. Take care. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with me on Divorced Women Dating. Dating after divorce is definitely an adventure. And honestly, it is way more fun when we do it together. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single moment of the helpful, hopeful, or just really relatable episodes. See you soon.